Hello, this is going to be a reading for Professor Oddfellow, a very good friend of mine. I'm going to be using a hand-stenciled reconstruction of the Jean de Dahl deck. I'll be doing it from your perspective. This is going to be a really interesting sort of reading because it concerns not the future, but the past. So I think I'm going to have just a little bit of fun with this. Professor Oddfellow has asked me if he should have purchased a painting some time ago, which was put to him as a challenge, but when encountering this particular artwork, found it to be rather something to cause him a certain sort of existential, transcendental, interdimensional, metaphysical consternation. I don't even know if all those words belong together, but for the purpose of this reading, let's go ahead and say that they do. They all sound like they belong together. So this deals with the past. Usually people ask about the future. So we're just going to have a little fun, I think, and see what the cards have to tell us. It's going to be a 3-card reading. I think, you can usually figure out, honestly, I think you can figure out everything you need to know with just 1 card, but today we're going to do 3. We have La Maison Du. Justice. And La Papesse. In the background you can hear my lovely Australian shepherd stretching and getting up out of his bed. So, the 3 cards that we're going to be looking at today, using to look into the past, will be La Maison Du, Justice, and La Papesse. And usually, as it is, we read from left to right. So we kind of consider that to the left is the past, and to the right is the future. But today I think we're going to be reading in the reverse order because we're going to be considering the past. So we're going to start with La Papesse, who, as we see here, she's in a state of, I suppose, contemplation. She has a book open, or perhaps a tablet. She's been reading. She's seated. And she isn't looking at what she's reading. She's considering what she's been reading, but I believe she's also considering who's next to her, Justice. She's also considering La Maison Du. She's taking in what is ahead of her. Oh, how do we play this, since we're playing with the past? This is so much fun. So she's immediately considering Justice, who's very much in the present. She's looking straight up. And she's holding up a sword and also these scales here. I often think whenever I'm looking at this card that she's holding up the scales higher than the sword. She seems to be holding the sword back. It's almost as if she's offering balance as a first choice rather than the sword. And then in many ways, these 3 cards rhyme wonderfully with each other because we have the crown here of La Papesse, we have the crown here of Justice, and we have the crown here for La Maison Du. This sort of energy that's coming out of whatever's happening inside this building is literally blowing the top off. We see that these flames are coming out and connecting with the sun here, and these 2 individuals are falling down. So how does this relate to the question of should you have bought that piece of artwork? Well, certainly with La Papesse, you're contemplating the past. You're looking back on the situation that you found yourself in. With Justice, you were considering the option of should you buy it? Should you not buy it? But also realizing that This painting had something rather sharp to it, something rather that could get inside of you, much like a sword. It really stabbed you whenever you saw it. And then, much like these two fellows leaving, or this sort of energy coming out of the building, you decided to leave it where it was. We're meditating on these three images. There's a lot here. There's a lot going on here. And how does it make me feel to look at these three images? I feel like with La Papesse and Justice, even though the two of them are sitting, and in the context of this question, they feel burdened in a way. You know, La Papesse, looking back over the situation, she's read something and it's not sitting very well with her. Justice, she's seated. She's considering her options. She's not sure which one to offer up. Does she look for the balance? As I say, she seems like she's looking for the balance, but also holding tight to the sword. And then the inevitability of La Maison Deux. So this is what I see for you, Professor Oddfellow. What would have happened if you would have brought that painting home? And it's summed up very easily with La Maison Deux. You see what's going on in this card. And I think, in many ways, you made the right choice. You found the balance. You took the balance rather than the sword. You stuck with your gut feeling. There's something wrong about that painting, you know, and you left the sword behind, because if you hadn't, this is very much what you would have ended up with. A catastrophe. So the painting would have been inside your house, represented by the tower. You and your partner here would have been thrown out of it. All this, as I said earlier, literally the top has come off. To answer your question, no. You should not have bought that painting. And I think you made a very wise choice. Thank you.